Have you ever been hurt by someone so deeply that it consumed your thoughts? Maybe it was a betrayal, an insult, or someone who underestimated you. And in that moment, you felt the urge to prove them wrong, to make them regret ever crossing you. But what if I told you the best revenge isn't anger, retaliation, or even proving a point? It's something far more powerful. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand the ultimate way to win against those who hurt you. 1. Indifference is the ultimate power. True power isn't found in retaliation, but in rising above. Let's dive into why indifference is the ultimate response to those who hurt you. Picture this. A coworker takes credit for your hard work in a meeting. Or maybe a friend betrays your trust, spreading rumors behind your back. At that precise instant, emotions flood your mind. Anger, frustration, the overwhelming urge to set things right. You see, it's only natural to want justice, to feel the need to respond. But then, all of a sudden, you realize something crucial. The moment you react, you hand them power over you. What's more, your anger fuels their satisfaction, validating their ability to control your emotions. And very soon after, they thrive off the chaos they've created. To everyone's surprise, the more energy you give to their actions, the stronger their grip becomes. However, if you were to shift your perspective, you'd see that true power lies in something unexpected: indifference. Because of this, they lose the ability to manipulate you, and just moments later, they become insignificant in your life. Most people lash out. They confront, argue, and seek revenge, believing that justice must be served. But where does that lead? More conflict, wasted energy, and a mind consumed by negativity. The alternative: absolute indifference. The moment you stop reacting, you take away the satisfaction they crave. When their words or actions no longer provoke you, they lose their grip on you entirely. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Stoicism teaches us that true power lies in mastering our responses. By refusing to engage, you shift control back to yourself. The best revenge is showing them that their actions are meaningless to you. A friend of mine once faced a brutal betrayal at work. His superior stole his ideas and took all the credit. Naturally, he felt enraged, tempted to fight back. But then, instead of wasting his energy on revenge, he made a decision that would change everything. At that precise instant, he chose silence over confrontation, growth over conflict. You see, rather than engage in pointless arguments, he focused on refining his skills, sharpening his expertise, and proving his worth, not through words but through results. And then, just moments later, opportunities started coming his way. Within a year, he secured a higher-paying job at a better company, while his old boss remained stuck, struggling to maintain control. To everyone's surprise, the very person who tried to bring him down was left behind, irrelevant and forgotten. His lack of reaction wasn't just a victory, it was the ultimate power move. The world expects you to fight back. But when you remain unshaken, you win without even lifting a finger. Indifference isn't weakness. It's the greatest strength you can wield. 2. Success is the greatest silence. The best way to prove your worth. Succeed so greatly that your enemies fade into irrelevance. And as the plot thickens, you'll realize why true power comes not from seeking revenge, but from making them obsolete. Think of the person who doubted you, who said you'd never make it, that you weren't good enough. At that moment, you had two choices: waste energy proving them wrong, or focus on becoming better. You see, most people instinctively feel the need to fight back, to show their doubters that they were wrong. But then, just moments later, they realize that by focusing on proving others wrong, they are still letting those people control their actions. What's more, instead of moving forward, they remain stuck in the past, consumed by the need for validation. Most people try to show off, arguing, posting on social media, making a scene. But to everyone's surprise, this rarely changes anything. In fact, it often makes them look insecure, as if they need external approval to confirm their success. However, imagine a different approach. Instead of responding with words, what if you let your achievements do the talking? What if without delay you focused all your energy on growth, mastery, and excellence? The moment you do that, something incredible happens. Those who doubted you become spectators of your success, forced to watch in silence as you surpass them. Seneca wrote, "Best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, success is the ultimate way to remove yourself from their level. Instead of seeking validation, rise above their expectations. To put it differently, true revenge isn't about proving them wrong, it's about making them irrelevant. Consequently, their opinions lose all power over you, and you find yourself in a league of your own. A former boss once told me I'd never amount to much. At that precise instant, I felt a fire inside me. I wanted to prove him wrong. But then all of a sudden, I realized something. The best way to do that wasn't through words or confrontation. Instead, I dedicated myself to my craft, working harder and smarter than ever before. And very soon after, success followed. Years later, out of nowhere, that same boss reached out, asking for a job. That moment. Pure silence, yet the loudest victory. The same person who doubted me now needed me. And just like that, I had won without ever needing to fight. Focus on growth, not revenge. Let your success be the answer to every insult. Because of this, those who once belittled you will be left speechless, watching from a distance as you thrive. Ultimately, the greatest revenge is living so well that they no longer matter. 3. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. Not everything is worth your energy. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to fight battles that are simply not worth their time. So let's talk about control, what truly deserves your attention and what you should learn to ignore. Imagine you're scrolling through social media and suddenly you see a post taking a direct shot at you. Maybe it's an unfair critique, a lie, or just a passive-aggressive jab. Your heart races, your fingers twitch, and your mind is already drafting a perfect response. You see, it feels like a personal attack, and all you want to do is set the record straight. But then you pause for a moment. Will responding actually help you, or will it only give the other person the attention they crave? What's more, every second you spend thinking about it is a second you could have used for something more meaningful. Most people get sucked into the trap. They argue back, defend themselves, or even escalate the situation. But ask yourself this: have you ever changed someone's mind by arguing on the internet? Has fighting back against office gossip ever silenced it? More often than not, the more you engage, the bigger the problem becomes. And soon enough, you realize you've wasted hours, even days, on something that didn't deserve a second of your time. Now imagine a different approach. Instead of engaging, You simply let it go. No response, no reaction, just silence. And very soon after, the problem fades. The person who tried to provoke you is left frustrated, wondering why they couldn't get under your skin. And in that moment, you've already won. Epictetus once said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not." To put it differently, your power lies in your ability to choose what deserves your focus. So instead of trying to fix everything, ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, walk away. Because of this, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and gain the ultimate advantage, peace of mind. A while back, I found myself caught up in an online argument. Someone was spreading misinformation about me, and I felt the overwhelming urge to respond. But then I took a step back. I asked myself, will this matter in a year? The answer was obvious, no. So instead of engaging, I logged off and focused on my own work. And guess what? Within a week, the issue had disappeared entirely. The person moved on, and I didn't waste a single extra moment of my life on something so trivial. Here's the truth. People will always have opinions, and some will try to provoke you just to see you react. But when you refuse to engage, you take away their power. Instead of wasting energy on things beyond your control, focus on what truly matters. Because at the end of the day, real strength isn't about fighting every battle. It's about knowing which ones to ignore. 4. Master your emotions, master your life. They can't control you unless you let them. One of the biggest ways people lose power is by letting their emotions dictate their actions. But as you're about to see, the moment you master your emotions, you master your life. Imagine this. You're in a heated argument. Someone insults you, attacks your character, or disrespects you in front of others. At that precise instant, your blood boils, your fists clench, your voice rises. You feel the overwhelming urge to strike back, to defend yourself, to show them that you won't be disrespected. It's an instinctive reaction. We feel anger because we think it protects us. But then just moments later, as the dust settles, you realize something. Your reaction gave them exactly what they wanted. What's more, they are now in control of your emotions. Most people let anger take over. They shout, they argue, and they let their emotions dictate their actions. But where does that lead? Regret, rash decisions, words spoken in the heat of the moment that can't be taken back. And suddenly you've lost. Not because you were wrong, but because you allowed someone else to manipulate your emotions. However, there's a different approach. Instead of reacting, what if you stayed completely calm? Imagine this. They try to push your buttons, expecting an explosion, but instead, they're met with silence. You look at them composed, in control. Suddenly the power shifts. You hold the upper hand, and they are left confused, powerless. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And in fact, emotional control is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. The Stoics believe that the only thing truly in our control is our mind, our thoughts, our reactions, our ability to stay grounded even in the face of provocation. So how do you apply this? Try this. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, do they deserve my energy? More often than not, the answer will be no. And at that moment, you reclaim your power. I once watched a close friend remain completely calm in the middle of an argument that could have easily escalated. A coworker was trying to humiliate him, throwing insults, raising his voice. But instead of fighting back, my friend just stood there, listening, unfazed. And to everyone's surprise, the aggressor grew more frustrated. The more he yelled, the more foolish he looked. Eventually, he stormed off, completely defeated, not by words but by silence. People expect reactions. They want to trigger you, to make you lose control. But when you remain unshaken, they lose all their power over you. Master your emotions, and you master your life. 5. Live so well, they become irrelevant. The greatest revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's making them irrelevant. When you live so well that their existence no longer affects you, that's when you truly win. Imagine this. You walk into a coffee shop and suddenly, out of nowhere, you see someone who once betrayed you. Maybe it was a friend who stabbed you in the back, an ex who walked away without remorse, or a colleague who tried to undermine you. At that precise instant, memories flood in. The hurt, the anger, the frustration, all of it. Your first instinct, to confront them, to remind them of what they did, to prove that you're doing better without them. But then, just moments later, something shifts. You realize they don't matter anymore. What's more, you see that holding on to the past is the only thing keeping you tied to them. Most people react emotionally in these moments. They want closure. They seek validation. They want the person who hurt them to acknowledge their mistakes. But here's the truth. More often than not, that moment never comes. And if you spend your time waiting for it, you're only giving them more power. However, imagine this. Instead of caring about their presence, you walk past them, indifferent. No reaction, no need for closure, no need for validation. And then, to everyone's surprise, something incredible happens. You feel lighter, freer, completely detached. Because at that moment, you're no longer the person they hurt. You've moved on. They haven't. And that's what makes them truly powerless. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, you don't have to prove anything to them. You just have to live better. Try this. The next time someone who wronged you comes to mind, don't waste time thinking about revenge. Instead, channel that energy into self-improvement. Work harder, focus on your goals, and build a life so fulfilling that they fade into insignificance. Because of this, their past actions lose all relevance in your present. I once ran into someone who had tried to humiliate me in the past. Years ago, their words had left a scar, making me question my worth. But now, when I saw them again, I felt nothing. No anger, no desire to prove myself. Just peace. And in that moment, I knew I had won. Not by fighting back, but by moving forward. The best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's living so well that they become irrelevant. Let go, move forward, and build a life so great that their presence no longer affects you. That is how you truly win. 6. Your peace is their defeat. Nothing frustrates those who hurt you more than seeing you unbothered. You see, people expect a reaction. They want to see you angry, upset, or broken. But when you remain at peace, you take away their power, and that is the ultimate defeat. Imagine someone intentionally tries to ruin your day. Maybe it's an ex spreading lies, a jealous coworker trying to make you look bad, or a former friend who betrayed you. They throw insults, manipulate situations, and wait for your reaction. And then, just moments later, they look at you, expecting to see pain. But instead, you smile, unshaken, At that precise instant, they realize they've lost. Because of this, they become desperate for a response, but you give them nothing. And in that moment, they have no choice but to accept that they no longer have control over you. Most people get caught in the trap of fighting back. They engage in arguments, try to defend themselves, or attempt to seek justice. But where does that lead? More stress, more negativity, and a mind consumed by someone who doesn't deserve your energy. However, imagine a different approach. Instead of engaging, you remain silent. No reaction, no explanation, just peace. And to everyone's surprise, that silence speaks louder than any words ever could. You see, when you refuse to be disturbed by negativity, you win without even trying. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In other words, stay true to yourself and never let outside forces dictate your emotions. The key to peace is learning to master your own mind. So try this. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, does this situation deserve my energy? More often than not, the answer will be no. And at that moment, you will realize you've already won. I once had a toxic person in my life who thrived on conflict. They would push my buttons trying to get a reaction. At first, I played into their games. I argued, I defended myself, I let them drain my energy. But one day I made a decision. I was done engaging. I stopped responding. And to my surprise, my silence drove them insane. The more I ignored them, the more powerless they became. Eventually, they gave up, and I walked away with my peace fully intact. People lose power over you the moment you stop reacting. Your peace is their ultimate defeat. Because at the end of the day, revenge isn't about making them suffer. It's about making them irrelevant. Let go, move forward, and live a life so fulfilled that they no longer exist in your world. So what's the best revenge? It's not anger. It's not retaliation. It's living a life so powerful that they fade into insignificance. Master yourself, and you master the world. Now tell me, what's your experience with revenge? Drop a comment below. And if this message resonated with you, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom.